Matt, what do you think of dynamic saunas? Guys, check this out. I don't think I've heard anybody talk about this, but everyone should be kind of aware. And it's difficult to explain. So I saw a premium dynamic sauna the other day, or maybe it was about a week ago. Now, keep in mind, I wasn't able to sweat in it. So there's a huge difference between seeing, touching, feeling, getting, 30, 60, 90 seconds with something to have a hands-on, bird's eye view on it versus actually using it for a few months, getting to know it. Does it have great heat performance? I don't know. But I can tell you that the build quality was absolutely phenomenal in this model. And it's the first time that I've ever seen something like this. And I think it's really important to highlight this because something that no one talks about in this sauna industry is the fact that from where I'm sitting, manufacturers are between a rock and a hard place because they're trying to build things that fit a particular outlined purchase order, right? So many years ago, I bought a dynamic sauna from Costco for $999, under $1,000. That same sauna today is $19.99 or $22.99 if it's not on sale or whatever. Same exact quality. Nothing has really changed too much. Have they mitigated the EMF some? And yes, of course. Is it super low and all this crap? Absolutely not. That's not really the point, though. Some people don't even care about that. And this kind of reminds me of many years ago, I had a call with somebody from Golden or Dynamic Saunas. I think his name was David. I don't remember his last name. Everyone that you talk to, says that they run stuff, but I think he actually, did. I don't know if he still does, but he was the most grounded, down to earth person that I've ever spoken to about, these dynamic saunas. And I didn't have this perspective back then. Everyone else that I talk to either hates me or whatever. And they're like, oh, Matt, just, it's like, okay, well, we have nothing to talk about. You can't have like a normal conversation with these people. The problem is no one is talking about when a big box store like a Costco comes to a manufacturer and says, hey, we want to sell a gazillion of these things. We need you to build it for X. And you say, hey, we can't build it for X. If you want that many, here's what I can do though. So there's this back and forth and they come up with the Costco will keep, hammering, trying to get you within a particular margin or price point that they, know will do well for their members and yada, yada, yada. I'm not behind the scenes on this stuff, so I can only speculate on some of it. But if they're willing to remove things like Bluetooth features, input-output ports, red lights, actual decent speakers, instead of just having like a little mono speaker that's a 4-inch or 3-inch thing that sounds like absolute crap, it would be better if they just left them out. And I'm not pigeonholing any particular design. I'm talking about the whole 30,000 foot overview of cheaper stuff like your Amazon Wayfair, Costco, Sam's Club, all this stuff. The problem is what no one communicates is that the manufacturing has the ability to build awesome stuff. So just because there's a negative opinion about a model or a review or something like that that's not favorable, it really shouldn't reflect badly on the actual brand if that's the manufacturer making the brand, right? The problem is that that's just how social media is. Inherently, that's the nature of the beast. Like if you say something, bad about a brand, a model, or whatever, people just think like, oh, all Toyota cars are bad because Toyota produced a hybrid that was supposed to give you X miles per gallon and it missed the mark. Now all Toyotas are shit. Well, maybe that's not actually the case, just like it's probably not the case here after seeing what I saw, a week ago. The hard part, though, is we don't have any control. No one has any control over this stuff. And I don't think the sauna manufacturers do either. So I think they're in a rock and a hard place that none of the sauna salespeople actually discuss. And no one wants to lay it out there and say, hey, these volume, large, big box retailers put purchase orders in to sell, X amount of volume per given area for these specs. And so everyone is working within that framework. That does not mean that the manufacturer does not have the ability to build just as good of a sauna as one of your top, brands. And so this is kind of illuminating when you think about it, because they have the ability to do this, right? They know that, but we don't know that, right? They know that, but no one in the sauna industry that is on the sales side talks about that or explains it. So consumer perception of, these brands or these manufacturers' ability is kind of like goes out the window in a way. It's sort of in the toilet when in fact sometimes it shouldn't be. The problem is if they built a $7,000 sauna that was supposed to be sold for $10,000 or something, I'm just making numbers up, right? Your Costco knows its buyer demographic and they're never going to order them. So the manufacturer or various brands, however you want to put that in quotes, really has their back up against the wall in situations like that. And then, anybody who's on the forefront of social media or does forward facing content or is the face of a brand like me or blah, 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 right? You're kind of on the firing line when stuff doesn't really go well. And you could try to get me to like a dynamic sauna all you want, but the ones that I have personally owned really aren't built that well. The walls are like super thin. I don't really like, how the front wall attaches. It's really weird. It kind of has that floating floor, design. You have to put it together away from the wall. And it has clasp buckles on the back. I mean, these aren't my favorite things. There are some premium saunas that have those same attributes, yet there's usually something that sways me the other way or makes up for it in some fashion. The build quality is just like amazing. The heater layout, amazing. It's not missing like heaters in the floor and this, that, and the other. But I really have to stop myself for a second and say, if a sauna manufacturer was approached and said the purchasing company was like, hey, we want you to build us the best, biggest, baddest, thing that you can make. They're probably going to give you insulated walls. They're never going to leave a heater, out of the floor. They're always going to have extra heaters, on the sidewalls that hit your legs, your torso, your calves, they basically want this thing to just blow your socks off. The problem is it's not cheap to do that. So I really think this is a hard thing to navigate because times are changing. Companies seem to be making better and better products, which is great. This would have happened a long time ago if consumers would have taken a stand for a particular standard and stopped buying things that were below that standard, because they would stop selling and companies would quit ordering them, and they'd be forced to get better stuff from the manufacturers who clearly have the ability to make better quality products. They're just not allowed to, right? That's kind of how I see it from where I'm sitting. And so whether or not that's, fair, accurate, all these things, I don't know. But after years and years and years of looking at these things, it's kind of sad, even for me, that we just associate a Costco sauna with dynamic, or we just associate what's the one that's on Wayfair and Amazon a lot. There's so many of these brands, it's hard to keep track of them because some of them are white labeled. We just did an unboxing setup video the other day for some mini sauna from Amazon, and it's like, it's just absolutely nightmarish. Like, they come up with these stupid names that I can't pronounce. It's like letters of an acronym. Like the actual brand of the sauna, everyone's mad at me because I can't give you a link. I can't give you a link to it because I have to go into my Amazon purchase history and literally search for the thing and scroll until I find it, because it doesn't have a brand. It literally just says infrared sauna control, like on the panel. There is no brand. It's a generic thing. And when you look at the Amazon listing, it's like LTCCSSDD or something. And I'm not making this up. That is the actual brand. And when you go and Google search that, nothing, you don't find shit. So if you think that you're going to buy this cheap stuff and you're going to get some crazy warranty, or the build quality is going to be amazing, or, through and through the experience and the actual electronics package and everything is synonymous with like top tier quality for some entry level price, we're just kidding ourselves, right? A lot of these products, not the dynamic stuff, but the other stuff like I'm talking about from Amazon the other day, these seem like throwaways. Honestly, it seems like you get something for $800 to $1,200, about $1,000, right? You get a little mini sauna. It works for however long it works, and it blows up, and you're done because there's no one to call. Who are you going to reach out to? There's no brand recognition. I don't think you could get a warranty claim to save your life, right? This is just from me searching and looking. I don't know what we would do if I had a problem with it. So at least when you have like dynamic stuff or Costco things, or you buy something from, some retailer that gives you some type of protection, at least that's a step up or a step in the right direction. And it's not saying that the big box retailer is not still skimping on quality in order to meet a purchase agreement with a certain margin and volume and all that other stuff, because I think that's what's happening. After seeing this new equipment, I'm convinced. I'm like, man, I think all of us have been looking at this the wrong way. The manufacturers do have the ability to build great stuff. They just have they're handcuffed. They have their hands tied behind their back. And so if nobody wants to pay for it, what are they supposed to do? I mean, they can only build what people are going to buy. They're in business too, after all. So it's like, I don't know what the answer or the solution is to that. I'm just not seeing anybody talking about this in a rational way. I've never heard anyone mention this anywhere on a single YouTube video, not in my sauna group. There's 46,000 people in there. Not on any of our comments or nowhere, right? But this is like, I think this has been happening for years and no one really highlights or has like a come to terms, come to Jesus, come to whatever moment that, hey, the potential for really great stuff is there. You got to want it. There's got to be like, a standard, and then people demanding a certain standard will eventually cause shift within an industry. I think it goes back to the analogies that I've been using. Everyone says that, traditional sauna, if it doesn't get to 200 degrees, you shouldn't mess with it at all. So it's like, okay, so all of us who live in apartments, condos, single family residents inside of, tight communities where you can reach out the window and touch your neighbor, kind of like in my case, it's like, if we can't install a traditional, sauna with 240 volt electrical, or a wood burning stove, or a drainage system so we can pour water on the rocks, or a dehumidification system, or some type of exhaust fan so we don't get mold because we're bringing in all this excess. If we can't do all these things, then we shouldn't do anything. That's like saying, if you have a job, where you have a commute, and if you can't afford a hybrid car so you get a certain mile per gallon, you should just walk to work instead. Because, you should never buy something that's a little less than 42 or 52 miles per gallon. And it's like, what kind of drugs are these people on? So these past 5 years, I should not get any heat therapy if I can't burn wood in my backyard, or pay an electrician to run conduit with a 240 volt dedicated electrical line to power a traditional sauna. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. By the same token, I think these same, things are coming up in sauna manufacturing, and no one is really the wiser. No one is really talking about this. Once you kind of look at it from a logical sense, though, it really does make a lot more sense. You can sort of understand. And I'm not in the camp that somebody should walk to work, if they can't afford, whatever car the guy says that you have to have. Just in the same way that, if you can't afford some premium, $8,000 sauna, that you should either, overextend yourself, use a credit card. Never. Just like if you can't put a traditional sauna in, you shouldn't get a sauna at all. Never. No. Ever since 2020, we have been building the DIY sauna course that teaches people how to build a grow tent sauna for like no money. We don't make any money on it. The hosting service to host the videos is $200 a month, plus all the software registration fees and everything that goes along with it. I think we charge like $5, $10, or $15 for that. You spend a couple $100, $250 or $350, I believe, to buy all the parts. You get a grow tent. You do this, you do that. You build yourself a sauna. We just do that for the community. If you have no money, there's no hard push, to go buy something that's outside your means. And I think that's an important portion of the question too for build quality, right? If this is all the stuff that you can afford, hey, fine. If you love it, no problem. But don't expect it to be something that it's not. And don't expect, manufacturing to take on like a wave of increased standard of quality when no one wants to pay for it and no one wants to buy it. So that's all I got for today. I think we should think on this for a little bit and resume this conversation, because I've never heard anybody talk about it, and I think it's something that should be brought to light.